Claire is my co-facilitator, and she is, as you've heard, very adept with Mural and Zoom and any other technical issues. So I do want to make sure that we respect the time box and get into the session as quickly as possible. So here's the title of our talk, Business Agility in Uncertain Times. And a little bit about my company. It's called Lightspeed. We've done a lot of work. So everything that I'm talking about to you is based on real life experience. So I'm providing these slides as reference. I don't want to take time talking about this, but just suffice it to say that everything that we're talking about today has been done and done at the enterprise level, right? I've been in the field for a long time, coming up on 20 years in Agile, and overall 30 years in the industry. Got 2 books and working on a 3rd book. The 3rd book will be coming out this fall, from PMO to VMO. And so there again, what I want to tell you is that not only are the concepts that we're presenting today based in real life experience, but they also are cutting edge and industry leading from that perspective, right? Our agenda today, we want to talk about what is business agility. And you're hearing this term quite a bit. It's been a little bit of a buzz about business agility, we're moving quickly, et cetera, et cetera. And then we want to talk about adapting to uncertainty using this thing called the OODA loop: observe, oriented, decide, and act. Right, so we're going to talk about that, and we also talk about closing out. We have a couple of exercises, and because this is an unconference, so, we have a few slides, but I want to keep it open to discussion. We have a small group here, so shout out your questions, put your questions in the chat. I don't know what the procedure is over there, but we'll keep it interactive. And we also have 2 exercises on a Mural board, and Claire will be helping me facilitate those exercises, right? So you guys are all experts by now, I'm sure, on Zoom, right? So give me, if you prefer to do so visually, so I can see Monica and I can see Charu, give me a visual thumbs up or a Zoom reaction if you believe we are living in uncertain times. Okay, I don't see any reaction. So I got both Monica and Char over here. So what is the uncertainty that you're seeing? Because clearly the world over, I'm based in Washington, DC, in the North America, Claire is in Europe, in the Netherlands. Most of you, if not all of you, are in India, in Asia, but across the world, we're seeing uncertain times. What's the biggest uncertainty facing you today? Just yell it out.
Don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Let alone 3 months from now, 6 months from now, we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So we live in extreme uncertainty. So the rules of the past, when we had a certain amount of stability, we could plan on that stability and say, you know what, things will be the same, more or less the same, at least for the next year, right? Or maybe some people who want more control, they say, well, things haven't changed for the last 10 years, so we'll be more or less the same for the next 10 years. But all of us are facing the uncertainty, not only at the personal level, at an organizational level. There are some companies that have embraced this idea. They don't try to have control. What they're saying is, we just need to respond, we need to learn fast, and we need to respond quickly. Here's an example of Airbnb. Right? This is the company that allows you to rent your houses or your rooms or whatever. And the pivot, the change in direction that they made when the pandemic came, right? They were renting properties mostly to people who wanted to travel outside. So who has traveled outside the country? Give me a thumbs up if you travel outside the country. What's your favorite destination? Monica, what's your favorite destination?
I had plans to visit Greece this year, last year, in fact.
Okay. And where have you been besides?
Oh, locally, okay, I have my favorite city would be Miami.
Oh, which is that?
Miami in US. I really enjoyed
Miami,
it.
okay. All right, fantastic. So Miami is your favorite city. Greece is where you want to go, probably Athens and the Parthenon and all that kind of stuff. But given the pandemic, what did you end up doing?
Sitting at home, spending
You didn't
time
go
with
to
my
like
girls.
Nainital or anything like that, hill station?
No.
Okay. So apparently that's what a lot of people decided to do. It's like, well, I can't go outside the country because of COVID, but what I can do is travel locally. I can drive somewhere. And so Airbnb adjusted their business model and they made a huge pivot. So this is what we call business agility. Even when circumstances are enormously unfavorable, we can pivot and move quickly, right? So that's business agility. Our question is, in our organizations, how do we do this? So I'm going to introduce this tool called the OODA loop. And this video is a little long and we don't have too much time. You can find it on the internet. So I'll play the first minute, which introduces the concepts of the OODA loop.
How to reinvent your business by using OODA.
Is the sound okay? Can you see it and hear the video?
Is a term coined by Colonel John Boyd way back in the 1950s as part of a military strategy to know the opponent's move and thus form strategies accordingly. OODA stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. The OODA loop process is a brilliant tool to reinvent company or a business. The tool helps you with a strategic process that starts with the observation. During the observation phase, you look at what's happening around you and gather as much data as possible from as many sources as possible. The next O stands for Orient, which is a phase where you make sense of the observations made. You decipher the relevant information from the insignificant. You make sense of the data and gain insights during this process. The next process is to decide on options and select one path. Then, finally, you move on to action, which is the execution.
Okay, so that is the OODA loop. Observe, orient, make sense of what you're seeing, change and orient or reorient, make some quick decisions, act, and then move through the cycle again, right? And when we talk about business agility, this is what we want to do, right? We want to observe what's happening around us. We want to orient, we want to make some quick decisions, and then we want to act and do it over and over again. And the speed that we go through this decision cycle is what will determine success or failure, or in a military term, victory or defeat, right? But it all starts on, with our customer. So tell me a little bit about what you guys do. So we have, some friends from the conference panel. We also have some folks who are attending. Give me, if one of you or two of you want to just tell me who you are and where you're working. And if you don't respond.
So I'm working
I can tell.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, I can tell actually within very few less time so that everybody can see. I'm actually in United States. I'm in San Antonio. I've been here for 21 years. And I am working as a test manager and project manager, and also selected now as an agile coach in a company called USAA, Insurance and Financial Industry. So I guess that is it. And so wonderful discussion till now. Thank you so much for you.
Thank you, Anuradha, and welcome. So you're joining us from San Antonio, Texas. And so USA is a credit union, right? And
USA, exactly.
And it's one of the largest credit unions because they serve the defense, the folks in the military.
Military, yes.
And so you have customers. Anybody else got customers here besides Anuradha? Thank you, Anuradha.
Thank you.
So Siddharth, Rahul, Naresh, Jatin, do you have customers? Okay.
Yes, everyone has got customers, Sanjiv. Yeah, let's hear what he's saying.
Yeah, hi. This is Manish Anand. So I work for Aristocrat Technologies, primarily based out of India. But yes, we are a product organization where we build casino games. So the answer to your question, yes, we do have customers, which are the direct casinos whom we deal with.
Wonderful, right? So thank you, Manish. So we forget sometimes, right? When we are building products or delivering services, sometimes we just get so into the details that we forget that everything we do should be based on our customers, right? So if it's casinos and we're like Manish and we're building products for casinos, or if it's veterans or folks in the military and we're providing services and bank accounts and credit cards to veterans or military members like Anuradha does. Here's what's happening. 64% of the features that we're building are rarely or never used. There's a tremendous amount of waste, right? So what we need to do is to make sure that we actually build the right thing. How do we build products with features that are not, that are usable and used by our customers and that deliver business value to us, and services, like if you're doing a services type company, that are valuable to our end users. So one of the main things that we need to do from an observation perspective is to start to get into the hearts and minds of our customers. Who are our customers? What are they thinking? And then how do we understand what they're thinking? And to do that, we need to develop what's called empathy, right? And so empathy, if you're not directly connected with our customers, it's a little harder. So Anuradha said she's a test manager. So she's probably not in a business-oriented role where you have direct contact with the customers. So one of the best ways to do or to create this connection with our customers is to create what's known as an empathy map. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And what we're going to do, if you could put a link to the mural in the chat. And I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't make any assumptions. In this virtual world, everybody's been playing around with different things. Have you already used Mural or Miro? If you put your hands up, everybody, nobody, okay. So not everybody put their hands up. So what I'll do is I'll give you a lightning 10-second tour to Mural and how you can use this tool. So in the link that Claire put in the chat, if you just click on that, it's going to put you here as a visitor. And we have two mural boards to work on. The first one is this empathy map, and the second one is applying the OODA loop. And let's see, 1, 2, I'm thinking we actually don't even need breakout rooms. I would say just let's just, I don't know, how many people do we have totally from attendees, Monica and Charu?
14, yeah, inclusive of all of
Well,
us.
So 10 participants.
10 participants. Let's do 2 breakout rooms then, well, of 5 people each. All right.
All right.
So thank you, and you can just create random. So while Charu is helping us with that,
Sanjiv, if you don't mind, me and Charu would like to act as a participant as well, so we can learn to. Yeah,
please do. And I see Deepthi here as well, but she's the big boss, so she may not have.
Sanjiv, one question. For how much duration?
10 minutes.
Shall I? 10 minutes. All right.
Or make it 8 minutes because Zoom will put in other things. So make it 8 minutes. We'll make a tight thing because I want to make sure that you have time for the other exercise as well. Let's see. We're doing good on time, right? So no, actually, make it about 8 minutes. I think we finished 15 minutes. Yeah, 8 minutes. So this is Mural, and the first one there'll be 2 groups. So group 1, you'll be on the top, and you'll be in this lane. You'll be here. Can you see my mouse? Where I'm, yep, good. And here's what I want you to do. So if it's, as Manish said, his casino customers, or if it's Anuradha and she's got the USA customers, I want you to think about your customers or get into their hearts and minds and capture using these sticky notes. You can click on them and enter information. What are they thinking and feeling? What are they hearing? What are they saying? Or excuse me, what are they seeing and what are they saying and doing? Leave this pain and gain because we probably won't have time. So just focus on what are your customers thinking and feeling, what are they hearing, what are they seeing, and what are they doing? And we can crowdsource it. So all the 5 or 6 people in the room can just start putting things over there and writing things in. And you guys know that when you click over here, another sticky note will appear. So if you need to add more information, just click, a sticky note will appear. So let's fire, before we jump in, is everybody clear on the breakout room and what we're trying to do here? Empathy map, click on the link. I don't see any visitors. Yeah, okay, you guys are all there. All right, everybody clear? 8 minutes, starting now. Let's do it. Are you guys all able to access the mural board?
Yep.
So go ahead and start putting information, because if you look at the top right, we have about 6.5 minutes left. So what are your customers thinking and feeling? What do they see? What do they say and do? Charu, feel free to jump in and put your thoughts.
Sure.
We are group 1, right? Any questions, guys? Manish, Rahul, Surya, Jatin?
You're asking us for very high level stuff, right? Like what are the key concerns of customers? What are they happy with? What are they not happy with? Or just only the concerns?
So I'm sorry, Manish, but your voice is breaking up. Charu, could you hear Manish properly?
No, there was distortion in the voice. So, Manish, could you please repeat your question? Or maybe you can type in chat. I'll read it out.
I think he dropped. Oh, there he is. He's coming in.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected.
No problem.
Yeah, so I was asking that, are you asking about the basic concerns of the customers whom we are interacting with, or on a very high level, just, you know, the good and the bad and, you know,
Just
the stopping things?
Yeah, just if you
Okay.
think about your customers, what do they think? What do you think they think and feel? What do they see? What are they saying and doing? And what do they hear?
Okay, got it.
So we got these segments, right? So if you just focus on the top part, that'd be good.
Manish, Surya, the side. Just wanted to understand once again. So when I'm talking about what do they think and feel, or what do they see, it is more from their perspective, whatever services and products which we are offering, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
something which I wanted to just course correct. Thank you.
And thank you, Surya. And also in this current environment, right? This is also personal. If you think about your customers, what are they thinking and feeling personally? They might be thinking, I don't know what the next week holds, let alone the next month. They might be thinking I might get, laid off from my job. Job cuts are coming, reduction in force, those kind of things. So feel free to put in personal things as well. Is that good? So I will see, Charu, if you can just help our folks around here. I'm going to jump into the other breakout room and see how they're doing.
Sure. Guys, I hope all of us are putting our inputs on group 1. And we have just around 3 minutes left, so we might have to hurry.
All right, how are we doing? right, we got a little under a minute. Looks like we're getting some good feedback here or good input. Yeah, we're getting some good stuff. What are they thinking and feeling? Uncomfortable, advantageous, worries and uncertainty, hearing, market is fluctuating, impact on businesses, struggling families. What did they see? Oh, that's interesting. Find ways to resolve issue, perhaps. What they say and do. Let's see what the other guys are coming up with.
So we are almost done with our breakout rooms. So we'll be going back to the main room. People are still joining in.
How's it looking? Everybody back, more or less?
More or less, yeah.
All right, so everybody can see the mural board. So I'm just going to call out some of the things from group one. What are they thinking and feeling? Being relevant, new solutions, revenue generation. What are you hearing? Scaling, security, work-life integration, big one, right? What do they see? Uncertainty and chaos. What do they say and do? Keeping a positive outlook. Nice stuff, right? Group two. What are they thinking and feeling? Uncomfortable, advantageous, worries and uncertainty. What are they hearing? Market is fluctuating, impact on business. Likewise, that's what they're seeing. And then somebody put pains and gains, right? So this starts, hey, Dima, good to see you. So this starts to give us an idea of what our customers are thinking and feeling and doing, right? And we can then use that mindset or the understanding of our customers' mindset to orient what we're doing. So we talked about observation. So I just showed you this tool. It's the empathy map tool, and that'll help you to kind of get an idea of your customer's mindset. Well, the next step is, now that we sort of have an idea of what's going on in our customer's mind, what do we do with that? Well, what we have to do is to orient and understand how to use our customer's mindset to change the way we're doing business, right? In the pandemic, all businesses need to move faster and we need to be more flexible. So that's what we're facing, right? And so one of the biggest obstacles to flexibility and business agility is the way that we're organized today, right? We have these organizational silos, and we move work from silo to silo, and that takes us a lot of time. And we're not able to be customer focused, and it takes too long, right? The lead time to go from start to finish just takes too long. And we need to fix that. So that's our biggest obstacle. So from an orientation perspective, we say, okay, now that we understand the customer's mindset, let's understand their journey. What is their journey through our products or our services? So I see Manish is back. So Manish is building products for casinos, right? So if Manish's customers go through a particular journey from start to finish, how do I sign up for a product? What do I do it? How do I list my casino? How do I, place my bet? These are things that have to go end to end, and that's what we call a customer journey. Now, rather than build the product in a huge, big elephant-like thing, like we used to do with Waterfall, what we do with Agile and what we want to do over here is to build smaller pieces, get our product done in smaller pieces, and that's what we call MMPs, or minimum marketable products. And then we want to move as quickly as possible from start to finish, and that's what we call flow, right? We want to be able to flow through the customer journey. We want to be able to flow our smaller pieces of product from start to finish. And that's what we want to do with these MMPs or smaller solutions. The question is, how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is to quickly decide which pieces are higher priority and which pieces are lower priority. Right? Now, who has to decide that? Usually it's a customer manager or a product manager or a product owner if you're doing Scrum. If you're doing the Scaled Agile framework, then you have product owners reporting to a product manager. And then somebody has to make a decision very quickly. So one of the essential parts of business agility is the speed of decision making. How can we get to a decision quickly? And even if it's like 90% right, it's okay, because we can come back and revisit that decision. So a great tool to use is something that we call the weighted shortest job first, or WSJF, right? And this is part of the Scaled Agile framework. It's been used in multiple ways. And what you see on the wall, on the slide and on this wall, is things that are coming in, ideas, things that we progress through a flow of ideas. This is usually a product manager's moving over there. And on the right-hand side, you see this tool called WSJF prioritization, or weighted shortest job first. So if you start to think, if you think of these little diamonds over here as features, we're not going to be able to work on all of those. We have to decide which ones are the highest priority in this uncertain environment. And so what we do is we list all these things and we get our customers to rate them. And you see the formula here. You see some columns here, and there's the formula, job size, and then WSJF. And this result will give us a somewhat objective way of which is the highest priority thing to work on. And we'll come back and we'll improve that. But when we need to decide, this is a tool that will help us decide. Okay, so that's in terms of WSJF prioritization. I love the music, but
Sanjiv, so that was to indicate 30
The
minutes
time
are
check.
over.
oh, okay. I thought it was just
Yeah.
for entertainment. How much time left?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Fantastic. We're getting close. All right. So this is our decision. So remember, observe, understand what our customer's mindset is, orient, figure out how to move things and flow things, decide which things to work on, and then act, right? How do we get to act, right? So we're starting to get to the implementation, and most folks in IT are towards the right-hand side, right? We're more on the implementation side. But what we're talking about here is this entire funnel, which is so much more important. Are we working on the right things? Can we take an idea and move it quickly from left to right? So you see here something that is called a portfolio Kanban. And you see the theoretical basis of this portfolio Kanban on the top, a funnel of ideas coming in, selection of those ideas, prioritization of those ideas, putting them in this thing that we call a program backlog and stacking them up and then implementing, right? And most folks in IT will get involved here. But what's really more important, and this is where the industry is moving towards, is the idea that we need to work on the right things. We need to build the right thing. Otherwise, we end up with that 65% of junk, and we're not able to move quickly and move and respond to our customers more quickly. So you see here an implementation, and this can be done, of course, in any tool. Here are, this row are customer outcomes captured by what's called objectives and key results. Here's the customer outcome: improve work management processes. Second customer outcome: deliver a great user experience. And all the work related to those customer outcomes is lined up end to end on this portfolio Kanban. And here in this middle section is where the WSJF ranking happens, how we decide to move from left to right, and how we decide to invalidate things that are not useful. Right? So that's what we're talking about, getting things and moving them. And then once we can understand and orient, then we get to action. Right? This is the execution part. Now, a key part of action and execution is to set up what we call value stream teams, teams that are persistent, teams that are kept together, and that can help implement those things that we're coming through the portfolio Kanban as quickly as possible. And so you see here, you see a team here, you see another team here, and you see another team here. And this is different from the project mindset where we put these teams together. These are product teams. You might have heard this this mantra that's coming out, right? It says project to product. Here's how you implement it, at least partially. We have to say, here's a product team. They're going to stay together, and as these MMPs flow through the portfolio Kanban, they'll take it, they'll work on it and get it done. And they'll get it done in weeks, not months, and certainly not years. And that's how we take all the stuff and implement start to finish. All right. So that is end to end. I want to play a short video, and then I want to get into a discussion, open discussion, because I want to make sure that we finish on time and have enough time for you guys to discuss and answer questions. So here is to pull it all together. Remember, always focus on the customer.
Tatarklubben is gathered at Kødbyen in Copenhagen, and today's topic is customer-centric lean. I'm joined now by Samuel Bolter, who is the head of branding and design at Danfoss. You talked a lot about customer-centric lean. How has that helped Danfoss prioritize and make money?
I mean, for us, customer-centric lean, it really comes back to making sure that we have the voice of the customer in everything we do, knowing where in the value chain we are in relation to the value that we're trying to create for the customer at the end of the day. In the innovation, for example, that's really about bringing fact packs, insights into everything before we get started and too far down an innovation process, and really making sure that just everything that we improve is because it's going to improve something for the overall experience for the customer.
You also talked about connecting the brand to the growth strategy. How are some of the ways that you've done that?
I mean, for us, it's very clear that, in markets where growth isn't just happening every day organically, you really have to be very selective in where you're going to put your branding dollars and your bets on the table. And so for us at Danfoss, we're working very systematically to be better at identifying where are our growth opportunities. And the same goes for our branding, is to follow that same lead and make sure that we're investing in the best opportunities and supporting where Danfoss feels it has the best opportunity to get growth and profitable growth.
How can you ensure that the customer is at the center of your branding strategy?
Yeah, by using the customer, by talking to the customer, by relying on the insights that are being generated by the company, with the thousands of sales guys we have out there every day, the CPS or customer perception studies that we run, loyalty scores, net promoter scores, and really making sure that we build fact packs and build business cases based on what the customer has said and asked for. At the same time, balancing that with what we believe ourselves and what we think will be the best outcome for our company and also to create value for the customer. Thank you. No worries. Thank you.
All right. So that is to pull it all together. So in summary, this is what we're talking about: developing a customer-centric mindset, orienting, enabling that flow through customer journeys and MMPs or minimal marketable products, deciding using the customer-centric prioritization using WSJF or something like that, and outcomes focus using those OKRs, and then driving that end-to-end value flow with value stream teams. So let's take the next few minutes to discuss and just enter into an open conversation. Questions, comments, let me check the chat quickly if there are any questions. No chat. No
I
questions.
have a very small question for you.
Yes.
I just want to know what are the different ways we can have the customer feedback. So I had a chance to work in different companies. So they used to do different kinds of customer feedback. First of all, we have to know the feedback periodically so that we can work on it. So we have a tool, like some company I had worked with a company called AXA. So they had a tool where, they just see that how we can do it, the customer satisfaction 100%. Then they used to discuss. So according to you, what you think we should have a customer feedback, in what way, and how should we achieve that?
Yeah, there's something called design thinking, right? And design thinking says, don't just ask the customer for feedback, but observe, orient, and monitor customer behavior. So as we're doing this, we're using Zoom, right? I can bet Zoom is looking at what we're doing over here. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
WhatsApp was a big deal, right? There was a big deal recently about, whoa, WhatsApp's tracking me, and Mark Zuckerberg will know exactly what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. All tools, all product companies need to understand how their customers are behaving. Right? They're watching our behavior, Facebook, WhatsApp, Google. And so, Anuradha, to answer your question, what we need to do is to understand how our customers are behaving when they're using our products, or even how they're behaving in the industry. So there are tools that you can use. DevOps, if you use DevOps, you can embed feature tracking. You can look at the features that are being used, the features that are not being used. That's something that you can track. And, you can use tools like Optimizely, and there are on the front end of your website, you can look at tools that way. Or more specifically, the old-fashioned way is to go and ask your customers. But for me, it's not a question of one tool versus the other. It's a question of we can ask our customers and understand how they're behaving, and we can watch and observe our customers and see how they're behaving. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, excellent, definitely, yes. Thank you so much.
No problem, you're very welcome. Other questions?
Sanjiv, I have one. So currently I am working as a Scrum Master, and I have felt this in my teams. And I would like to know from you as well, how much it is important for development team to know their customers well. When you were talking about different phases, how much it is critical that they should be involved from the very first stage, so that they know each and everything about their customers. And as per manifesto as well, Agile Manifesto, we are trying to bridge the gap between business and what we are delivering. So what is your opinion about it, and how we can achieve that?
Sure. So my opinion is that I'll propose it in the form of a question. Do you want to survive?
Certainly. Not just survive, but excel.
Yes. So not only do we want to survive, but we want to thrive. And so if the answer to that question is right, or it is yes, then you have to have direct contact between your development team and your customers. If you don't want to survive, then there's no problem. You can keep them together, keep them separate, and you can have the Scrum Master or the product owner be the intermediary. And that's just doing things that we used to do. So how do you do that? So let me give you an example. There are some things called customer intercepts, and the UX community, the user experience community, knows this very well. And what they'll do is they will take the entire team, and it doesn't have to be the whole, the entire development team. I would prefer to have your entire development team go with your product owner, with your Scrum Master, and just talk to customers, right? And this can be done in the form of customer intercept. And it's not just asking the customer to come to you and tell you what to do, but go and talk to customers. And when I say go in this virtual world, it could be just get on a Zoom call and talk to your customers, right? You can have a chat bot and monitor your website and talk to your customers. But the customer intercept is essential, and getting everybody on the team to have that direct access to the customer is essential. It's a fundamental underpinning of Agile methods, whether you're talking Scrum or extreme programming or Kanban at the team-based level, or any disciplined Agile or SAFe at the enterprise level. If you're not talking to your customers, you're not going to survive. Maybe you'll continue for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but eventually you go out of business.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So,
Charu, the conversation is going really great, and so much of eye-opening. Actually, it's also, you tend to forget few basics, and it is such a great thing, Sanjiv, hearing from you. Sometimes you need a knock to remember those basics.
And the knock needs to come from outside. So thank you for inviting me to knock the door.
Thanks, Sanjiv. So just a quick time check, Charu. We just have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, it's in fact it's just 3 minutes. So maybe we can take up last question, and also we have a short poll for the feedback. So it'll hardly take a minute. So I'll request all of you to provide your feedback as well. But before that, one last question, we can take that up.
In the meantime, we can start the paper.
Yeah. Okay.
Sanjiv, Surya this side. A quick question. So I work with a product team here, and in recent past we were able to shell out 3-4 product offerings, and one of which, as of now, in last 12 months, we haven't been able to generate more than 100K, and it is considered as of now as one of our failures in terms of the product offerings which we created. Now, one of the biggest reasons I see we might make that mistake once again is that we are not actually digging deep into the reasons why it is not getting the revenues which we wanted to. Uh, uh, just to put this across in a very crisp way, what do you think with a lot of feature factory kind of mindset which we have, like pushing more features and products, from a delivery standpoint as a Scrum Master, how can I make sure that we just get onto that and just understand and just nail down the reasons for that, and then start our efforts onto other product offerings which we're creating?
That's a great question, Surya. I don't want to keep an eye on the time, but here's my answer. As a Scrum Master, you also have to be a little bit of a shrink, right? As a psychotherapist. And in this case, you have to be a psychotherapist to your product owner and to your managers, outward facing, right? We talked about the team. Now let's talk about the outward facing. And you have to get them to do two things. One is you have to get them comfortable with invalidating features. We are really good at coming up with ideas, all of us, right? On the delivery side, on the customers, we think our customers are going to like this. We think our customers are going to need this. So we generate a huge bunch of ideas and then we clog our portfolio. But the most important thing here is to get people comfortable with the idea of invalidating those ideas. Are those the right ideas? If you're talking to our customers, then those product owners, those product managers need to get comfortable with invalidating, killing, getting those things out, get rid of them. And then the good ideas can move forward and we can implement that. The biggest thing preventing them from doing that is something that we call confirmation bias. So you can write this down: invalidation versus validation. Confirmation bias is once we come up with an idea, we think it's a great idea. And then everything that we hear confirms that what we thought of is a great idea. So I thought this idea, it must be great. And even if somebody's criticizing that idea or is giving me a little, not so good feedback, I hear it as positive feedback. So how do you do that? Make sure that you're invalidating as much as you're validating, and make sure that you're cognizant of the confirmation bias. And you as a Scrum Master become the psychotherapist to your product owners and your managers to help them understand those two issues. It's the clock. I want to be respectful of the time box. I think you guys have another session coming up.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjiv. Thank you for the wonderful session and such an interactive session. Thank you, participants, for asking questions and for the wonderful conversation. So once again, thank you. And so Sanjiv, I would request if you could join us in networking lounge so that if people have more questions, they may ask you one-on-one.
Sure. Can you put the link in the chat, please? Because I wasn't able to access that.
All right, I'll do that.
That way we all, there we go. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great session. Bye.